A quick Pops Live to talk about Moon Knight. I have dropped the ball. I'll be perfectly honest with you people. I did not know this was dropping today. So shame on me for not having something done earlier in the day. Um, I will say it was not that big a deal to squeeze it in, jump right in, and talk about Moon Knight. Spoiler reaction, not a full review, breakdown, or anything like that. Link there in the chat if you'd like to hop in. Feel free to let me know. I will be happy to try to add you for your comments, thoughts on Moon Knight, Disney Plus, trying to adapt. A character that is really a long storied history, yet has never really found roots in sort of like the mainstream with sort of quote the normie crowd. Um, Originally Moon Knight appeared in a couple issues as basically a mercenary. Is known more widely as Mark Spector, but then in some new issues, if you look at the 2014 series, 2016 series, you see him evolving into sort of this schizophrenic, multiple personalities, psychosis, mental hospitals. The Egyptian mythology changes here a bit, and you start to see the real inspiration for the show. So, Oscar Isaac is the lead. This is some footage from the trailer, so I want to kind of go over some of that. This is really a lot of the footage that you see in the beginning is he knows he has something going on where he tries to stay awake. He straps his foot to the he has a strap that he attaches to his leg in the bed. He seals the door so he can tell if he's gotten out or not. He listens to this sort of like audio tape about staying awake all night. He is having these crazy visions and hallucinations, and it impacts every aspect of his life, getting to his job on time and all of those kinds of things. So that is pretty much the basis of how the episode starts. The trailer shows you that exact footage. And what we find is Stephen Grant, who works at a museum gift shop, he's an incompetent boob with a British accent, forgets everything, forgets his, a date with a girl, doesn't know kind of where anything is. He doesn't know anything. And, have like these vision fits, kind of like a mini blackout. And then suddenly he's into the other characters and he hears voices, and the voices, there's like, deep, dark voice. You're not supposed to know who that is. Then, of course, you have this other voice that comes along a little bit later. The episode is definitely darker and edgier, but they don't go nearly as far as they should. And that's kind of like, if there was a negative, that's one of them. So this is him being strapped in the bed and him trying to stay awake and all of that. Listen to this audio thing about all of that. And then the shots of him waking up, not knowing where he is, ending up in a different, him being late. This is just the incompetent version of Stephen Grant working in a museum and all of that. And then you have this sort of like weird hallucinations, voices, and those kinds of things. It's kind of darker and edgier. This is not a shot. I think it was not in the first episode. I might have missed it, but I don't believe that shot was in the first episode. But definitely this sort of like, I don't know what's going on. This is getting out of control. This was later in the episode because he basically is sort of like transported, wakes up. He's trying to get back to London. He's somewhere else. That's where he meets Ethan Hawke's character, especially who's basically the series villain, who uses sort of an Egyptian prayer to connect to Amet, who is basically like judge and jury over your life. Not that you're a good person today, but that it knows your sort of like Minority Report. It knows your future. That he acts as basically judge and jury. You basically die, and he witnesses this again, not remembering anything. But during his hallucinations and his blackout, he becomes Mark Spector, the Moon Knight. And there's these quick shots of him escaping peril, escaping danger, pummeling people, waking up. There's blood all over him. He has a scarab that the Ethan Hawke character is after, and he doesn't know why. He's covered in blood in different scenes. He's pummeling people. He's super heroic and strong because obviously he's a Moon Knight. But they're not showing you any of that, right? This is stuff that's happening. He's described. So the episode proceeds through this way where the race is to get this scarab away from him. He doesn't know why he has it. They play it for laughs at times. Like, I don't know. It's like Marvel can't Marvel's formula is you have to have music that you know as like intro music and transitional music and background music. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You have to have these moments where tension is blended with humor, and it worked really well with Robert Downey Jr. because RDJ really knew how to pull that off with because he was very charismatic. Because Oscar Isaac's character is very neurotic, it kind of works, but it really doesn't work in that scene. It works in some of the other scenes where he's like the incompetent boob. His performance in this first episode is really, really good. He really is a psychotic mental case with a lot of different personality stuff happening, a lot of weird reactions. This is a shot where he's in an elevator. All of that's really good, and for the most part, I didn't disapprove of any of this footage. This is one of the gags that was spoiled in the trailer. Yeah, it's basically just teasing this. So it builds up to this climactic museum scene where Ethan Hawke has just shown up at his work and knows this is where he is. His identity is Stephen Grant, working as like a gift shop guy. He wants a scarab, and this guy he surely doesn't know what's going on. What's interesting is there's other clips. The one I spoke about on yesterday's live stream was where a female character comes, does all the fighting, and saves him. But that's not what happens in this scene. So that was actually very, very rewarding. This is the phone ID thing, basically to his Mark Spector personality. He has no idea how any of this works. Now this is the reference to Layla. We never see Layla. I assume that Layla is the person in the other clip that saves his butt because he doesn't understand that he is also this other personality. He needs to somehow connect. And the voice is very clear. Like, this is the stupid one. It's almost like the multiple personalities are in conflict with one another, very much like M. Night Shyamalan's Split. So there's a hierarchy, but his personality is not aware of the other two personalities that we at least know of. Now, there could be multiple personalities, but I'm just telling you, there's basically three main ones that are presented. The Mark Spector and the Egyptian god, which I don't want to get too much into that because it hasn't come up in this episode yet. Those two refer to him as the incompetent one. He has to give up the control, blah, 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 blah. So there's definitely this struggle that's going on there. And all of this plays pretty well. Let me proceed here to the shot. So this is the shot where he wakes up. This is the shot. This is Ethan Hawke's character coming to pass judgment. He asks for a volunteer. Very loyal people. He's a moron, right? So he doesn't know where he is or what's going on. So they kind of set him up to be a boob so they can isolate him, put him in danger. But he doesn't really know anything. Then, of course, Arthur Harrow. That's his name, I guess. Arthur Harrow. I'm still catching up on some of these newer comic books. Obviously, if you start talking about 2014 and 2016, this is not an era that I'm real familiar with. I will tell you that I have read a little bit, and he basically has like a Mr. Knight, not a Moon Knight personality. Very much into the mystery of him being in a mental hospital. I don't like the way he's drawn. This modern, sleek. He almost has like a Miles Morales body type, where it's more of like very gymnastic and athletic instead of the toned muscle, kick butt physique of like Batman, which is basically what Moon Knight is. However, they did use more like a traditional Mark Spector Moon Knight shot. That comes later in the trailer. So let's keep going with this. This is again him trying to deal. Some stuff's in this episode. Some stuff will be in episode 2. This is he wakes up. He blacks out in these moments of peril. Here's where he's covered in blood, has a gun in his hand. It's played for some laughs, but it really works because you're in his shoes. So with all of the dysphoria of not knowing where you are and what's going on to you, for those in the chat, I see you. Thank you so much. Feel free to hop in. There's a link there for you to jump in and join the conversation or leave a comment. I see you on different platforms there crossing over. It plays pretty well. It's actually not a horrible balance. It's not one of the worst things. I'll get to my biggest issue with it right. Well, that's kind of the issue, but we'll come back to it. So he sees different things at times, and this was embrace the chaos. Actually, I don't think that line is in this. It's like there's chaos in you, which is a great line. Now, this is the climax of the episode. He's basically trapped. The Arthur Harrow characters unleash this demonic monster of some kind, this Egyptian creature to attack him, this basically CGI creature to attack him. He's never Moon Knight until this scene. So this is the scene that's in the trailer. This is the scene. No, not that scene. That is not in this episode. So that must be in episode 2. This is a cool shot, to be honest, because they're making you think this is how episode 1. This is most likely episode 2. And again, for those of you who have not seen my videos, feel free to check some of them out. This has pretty much been a pretty proven thesis that almost all the Disney content tends to pull trailers in from the first 2 episodes. And actually, most other studios are now following suit. So this is the actual climax to episode 1, is he transforms into Moon Knight, pummeling the creature. And it's really, really good because you see like a broken sink fly into the hall, and you see this creature basically almost like trying to escape and then getting drugged back into the room. So that was really good. And then, of course, you get this, basically Ben Affleck Batman pummeling and then walking towards the camera. Episode ends. I will say, compared, so as far as other Disney Plus shows, many of the others that I had some hopes for, after seeing one episode, many times I was cut off from liking it anymore, or it was something that gradually declined. This one, my expectation was very skeptical because the first trailer and some of the footage looked really good. There was the clip that made me think about the bait and switch. I'm not going to give up on the bait and switch theory at this point. This episode is not woke. This episode is at times kind of uneventful, but by design, because you're meant to be in his shoes trying to figure out what's going on to him. And I like all of that, and I like Oscar Isaac's performance. So overall, I would give the episode a very high review and a high recommend. This is kind of more in line with what I was hoping for. The biggest negative, and it's no Daredevil, because they don't show you. They're doing they still do a tell not show. It works better than other series. But man, oh man, they cut to the scene where people are getting beat up. There's one shot where he's covered in blood, and the people are all around him. He of course, all you see is he just kind of, his eyes blip. He flashes, he wakes up, and he's covered all stuff. Well, we don't get to see the fight. I really, really wish there was like residual memory, even if it was just like a flash. I think you could have even played some humor into that, like the voice says, "You really don't want to know like what's happening to me," kind of thing, but he does get to see it. I don't know. Same thing with the truck scene that I showed you in the trailer footage, where he's obviously escaped peril. He's killed somebody. Very violent, very bloody. But Disney Plus shies away from showing us any of that, and I found that a little on the weak tea. They could have showed us. It's no big deal to show us that. Don't stop being silly, Disney. So overall, I will say it's got off to a good start. I'm not disappointed or anything like that. What we all want to see, is more of this. So let's see him be Moon Knight. You know what I mean? I know, based on the comic books that I've gotten through so far, and I don't want to speak too out of turn because I haven't gotten too far into this sort of modern inspiration for this show, is is it real? Is it not real stuff? Because if he gets institutionalized and we're trapped there with very bland characters, and we know it's supposed to be real, but everyone's telling him it's not, you end up with like a Legion sort of storyline, possibly. I'm really not interested in that. I just want to see bad guys. I want to see monsters. I want to see fighting. I want to see some action. I want to see him become a hero. I want him to be able to embrace becoming Moon Knight. I don't care for Moon Knight the Mercenary in the very early iterations. I think it's 1971 or 2. It's pretty far back. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not quite that far. I thought those first couple episodes, the Werewolf by Night stuff was just pretty bland. I really like Stephen Platt stuff in, I believe, the 90s. So I'm trying. But I would give it a recommend. It definitely starts off stronger than the other shows. So maybe if you like the other shows, you're definitely going to like this first episode. It's definitely not, it's almost like they want it to not be as much for kids, but they're still really scared of getting violent, getting bloody, and whatever. So that's a huge sort of turn off in the grand scheme of things. But overall, not so bad. Look, you see it. Tell me what you think, and you leave your comments. I'll be happy to take those. We'll do more. I have the Halo stuff comes out again tonight, so episode 2 of that. I definitely dropped the episode 1 stuff out there. I rushed it out there. It's going to be dropping right now as well. Did it with a great stream with Stone Loki and Ryan. Hopefully you'll enjoy that as well. Tell us your thoughts on all that. Check out other content. Throw us some recommendations, whatever you think you want to see and hear. And if you want to be a part of the show, feel free to hit me up on that too. So anyway, you take care, folks. Be blessed. I'm Pops.